Have you ever had any doubts that you're too old to learn guitar? Maybe you've just started learning to play, or maybe you've been playing for a while and you're just wondering if you're ever going to get there. Maybe you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s plus, you've never learned an instrument in your life, you wonder if you're ever going to get there. It's a natural thing to feel, and maybe you should just give up. You're never going to get any good at it, so why bother? Well, I'm here to tell you to, quit. That's it, forget about it. Until the next one, cheers. Of course that isn't true. I had exactly the same feelings before I started learning to play guitar, and they come from a place of fear, uncertainty and doubt. So what I've found from learning guitar in my 40s is that these feelings are natural, but more importantly, they're not true. So I'm going to share some reasons why I think you're never too old to learn guitar. The first thing to understand is that there's no best age to start learning how to play guitar, despite what people might say. As an older beginner learning guitar, I've been around the block a few times and understand that things don't always work out as you want them to. Over the years I've talked to friends and contemporaries who've started learning guitar only for it to sort of fade away within a few weeks or months or 6 months, or within a year's the classic one, and it ends up in a closet and they don't see the light of day again. Many of them only picked up a guitar a few times, and what they found was that their fingers hurt, it was too hard, and they just didn't have enough time to learn. But those things aren't exclusive to learning guitar later in life, they apply to any hobby or something you're trying to learn with a few more years on the clock. Learning guitar takes time, dedication, and there's a small pain barrier to get through over the first few weeks. However, having the discipline to play 3 to 5 times a week, just like a child would when they're learning and have to learn before school or after school, then you will see consistency, and over that period of time you will obviously improve your guitar playing. What I found in my own learning is that after a while that built a habit, and they say a habit is generally built after 21 days. So if you're consistent with your practice, you start to get into the swing of things. And once I started getting into that and building that habit, then I started to research and find out more about guitars, and the passion started to grow. I was finding out about guitar players I was really interested in, gear, techniques, and all obviously the parts of the learning a course like Justin Guitar's beginner course, for example. By doing both of these things, you're building your habit and you're building your interest, and overall your passion starts to grow for playing guitar. And when it does, it makes it a lot easier to pick up the guitar every day because you just want to and you really enjoy playing. Your issue then is trying to control your sudden urge to buy a guitar or new gear, but at least you know that your passion for the instrument is growing. The next thing that many people don't realise when they just come into an instrument later in life, particularly with this age of the internet, is that it's possible to learn online. You don't need to have physical lessons. I'm not saying that you shouldn't, and I think the direct feedback that you get from lessons is very helpful, but you can learn entirely online. And if you haven't seen any of my progress videos before, then check those out, where you can see my 1 year progress, for example, and you can see where I learned exclusively online. So it's entirely possible. It's just about keeping that discipline and that dedication like I mentioned previously. The beauty of learning guitar online is that you've got instructional videos right there when you need them. So if you've got 5 minutes, 10 minutes, half an hour, whatever it may be, you can jump straight in and learn something new. Another great thing about being older and learning guitar is that you're generally more self-motivated. Maybe you've learnt things in the past before, and you can apply that knowledge of learning to what you're doing with the guitar. And what I mean by that is, what did it take for you to get good at whatever it was that you were trying to get good at? You can think of those things, you can apply some of that at what you're doing here. If you haven't joined before, welcome. My name's Luke, and this channel is all about my beginner guitar journey, tips that I share along the way, and guitar course reviews. So if that's something you're into, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. And if you enjoy this video, please give it a big thumbs up. Another good thing about learning guitar when you're older is that you're self-motivated. Often children struggle to learn, they don't have that self-motivation, and this is where the pushy parents thing comes in, and they've been set up with lessons and then they have to practice daily. Sometimes children are placed in situations that are focused in order to build discipline, and this helps them to understand what it takes to learn something new. But when you're older, you've got less patience for that kind of stuff. But the good thing is that you know what you want and you go after it. You don't need somebody else to say, oh, go and try that, it's going to help you later in life. You know what you want to do and you just get stuck into it. Another great thing about learning guitar when you're older is all the music that you may have listened to over the years. So for example, I've got a very eclectic taste in music and there's many different things I like, but that helps me draw upon what I want to learn next and what my influences are. When you're young, you don't really have that. You've got a few songs that you might have heard, you might have some influence from your parents, and you don't know really where you want to go, what route you want to take. Whereas when you're older, you're pretty sure what you like and you can just crack on and get into it. Another thing about learning guitar when you're older is that you're more disciplined. As a kid, I had the attention span of a goldfish, and from what I understand, things are just getting worse with the mighty internet and social media. But if you're older, a lot of these new ways of communicating might pass you by, and that's a great thing. You don't get distracted, you don't get caught up in hysteria, and you can just concentrate on what you want to do. You're strong like bull. Well, your mind is, and you're going to need that when you're learning guitar. You're going to need that discipline. As Jimi Hendrix said, sometimes you want to give up the guitar, you'll hate the guitar, but if you stick with it, you're going to be rewarded. So take some comfort that the fact you've got some discipline is going to help you. Another good thing about learning guitar when you're older is generally that you have more disposable income. Previously, when I was younger, I used to have money come in and it went straight out. And that's the way I live. Now, I've got money come in and the kids take it. But seriously though, that means I don't have to scrape money together. Yes, I have to budget, I've got a family, but it means that I'm a bit more disciplined with it and I save and get the gear that I need. I don't buy flashy gear. I've got an acoustic guitar that's particularly nice because I knew I was going to stick with this instrument and I wanted some motivation, and I've got a second-hand Fender Stratocaster Player Series Mexican made guitar. They're both excellent, I really enjoy them. You don't have to spend a fortune on gear to get good stuff. What I've also found being older is that I can manage time more efficiently. Not generally by choice. I've got kids, I have no times. I just have to make sure that when I've got some, I can actually use it wisely. But what I've found is by having that lack of time, that when I do get a minute to play, I'm really fixated on it and get into it straight away. So that means that I'm focused and I'm dedicated to what I'm learning, and that generally means you're going to improve if you stick with it. Also, what I've found learning guitar later in life is that you've got less pressure on yourself. When you're young, you might have parents trying to push you into learning guitar, or maybe you just want to learn to play with some friends and impress them, or maybe there's someone else you're trying to impress. I don't know. But generally when you're older, you don't have that pressure on yourself. The expectations come off and you can just concentrate on what you really want to get into and enjoy yourself. Another thing that comes with getting older is responsibilities, and there's the strains of life that can cause some stress. I've suffered from that in the past. I've suffered from depression. I've talked about it in a video quite some time ago. But what I found from learning to play guitar is that kind of melts away a bit, because when I'm playing guitar, I'm focusing in on it. So it helps to relieve stress. And when you're older, you really understand that and you can appreciate it for what it is. So you can enjoy the experience more, knowing that it's helping you mentally as well as you help you learning a new skill. Another great thing about learning guitar later in life and online is realising there's lots of other people who are doing exactly the same thing, like some of my subscribers here, or maybe you're new to seeing my channel, for example. But what you all find is that there's many forums dedicated to this. For example, on Justin Guitar's forum, you'll find all sorts of ages of people learning guitar. This is a classic thing to do, right? Get a motorbike or learn to play guitar, and there's many people doing it. So connect with those people and you can enjoy the experience even more and share in your learning experiences. When you're older, you've got more appreciation for the phrase, the best things in life don't come easy, and that applies to learning guitar. Learning isn't easy, don't expect it to be. It takes time and dedication. If you're thinking about quitting, don't. Watch my video, How to Not Give Up Learning Guitar, and I promise you that will help you. Another bonus about learning guitar later in life is because you've got less expectation on yourself, you can enjoy the experience more. You don't have to master the guitar in order to enjoy it. You just have to strum, pick out a few songs that you like, learn something new every day or whenever you want to, and you'll get lots of pleasure and enjoy the experience. Remember, learning guitar isn't a race, it's a journey, and it's a journey personal to you. So it's all about learning to enjoy that experience and not have too much expectation on yourself. And what I've found as being an older person is generally I don't have that expectation on myself. Yes, I've made YouTube videos and perhaps I might have pushed myself to make a few in the past, but overall, I'm just doing this because I enjoy it and trying to connect with other people who are doing the same thing. Another great thing about learning guitar later in life is that it helps expand the brain, apparently, according to a number of neuroscientists. Whether that's true or not, at least you're enjoying something and maybe you're staving away that dementia that you might get. Lutz Janke, a psychologist at the University of Zurich, stated, "We found that even people over the age of 65, after 4 or 5 months of playing an instrument for an hour a week, there were strong changes in their brain. The parts of the brain that control hearing, memory, and the part that controls the hands, among others, all become more active. Essentially, the architecture of the brain changes." So that's great news, and whether or not it's entirely true or not, it's a great thing to remember, particularly when you're buying that new guitar and you can try to convince your other half. As a final reminder, age isn't the important thing about learning guitar, it's approach. It's your focus, your discipline, your commitment and your consistency. Do those things and you'll do absolutely fine learning to play guitar. A few weeks back I did a video about famous guitar players who started late, so it's well worth checking out if you haven't seen that before. So that's it for this week, but if you've got some thoughts about why you're never too old to learn guitar and what gives you superpowers as an older person, then let me know in the comments below. Until the next one, cheers.